Give the floor to the representative of Greece.
Thank you, Mr. President. I thank also ASG POBI for your comprehensive briefing and also welcome the participation of the representatives of the DRC and Rwanda to our meeting. Mr. President, we gather at a moment of urgency. The conflict and the loss of lives in the Democratic Republic of the Congo continue to drive civilians and communities deeper into despair. I wish to make 3 points today. First, Greece strongly and unequivocally condemns the killings last month in eastern DRC of a large number of civilians by the M23, backed by the Rwandan Defense Forces, and despite the ceasefire recently signed in Doha. We express our sincere condolences to the families of the victims and the government of DRC for what constitutes one of the largest documented death tolls since the M23's resurgence in 2022. We call on the M23 and its supporters to immediately cease hostilities. Attacks against civilians constitute grave violations of international law, and the perpetrators and sponsors of these crimes must be brought to justice and held accountable. It is more imperative than ever that the signatories of the Doha Declaration of Principles in July respect their commitments and maintain a permanent ceasefire, while continuing to work towards the finalization of a comprehensive agreement leading to a lasting peace. Greece reiterates its strong support and commitment to the sovereignty, independence, unity, and territorial integrity of the DRC, in line with international law and the UN Charter. The territorial integrity of the DRC must be respected, and state authority over all of its territory must be restored without delay. Towards that end, Security Council Resolution 2773, calling for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, as well as for the M23's withdrawal from all controlled areas in eastern DRC, must be fully and urgently implemented. Secondly, we are very concerned by the spiraling crisis, its toll on civilians, and the ensuing humanitarian situation in a region riven by 3 decades of conflict. Attacks of significant violence have followed also last week from the ADF in various locations of North Kivu, claiming dozens of lives, including women and children, accompanied by abductions and looting. We strongly condemn all violations of international humanitarian law and human rights abuses, and we are appalled by the mounting number of IDPs, with an estimated 7.8 million people forced from their homes, as well as by the shocking levels of sexual and gender-based violence and the repeated violations against children's rights. As we speak, a staggering 28 million Congolese suffer from acute food insecurity. In this regard, we strongly call on all parties to the conflict to protect civilians from harm and uphold their obligations under international law and human rights law. The delivery of aid, focusing on life-saving assistance for the most vulnerable, must be redoubled and reach all those affected without delay and restrictions. Third, we reiterate our full support to MONUSCO and its presence across DRC. We are especially concerned by the M23's continued obstructions to the mission's work in eastern DRC. Any continuing restrictions on uniformed personnel or movement of supplies and vital goods are unacceptable. The Council was clear when unanimously adopting Resolution 2773 that any attempts undermining MONUSCO's ability to fulfill its mandate will not be tolerated. We reiterate that attacks against peacekeepers may constitute war crimes and that perpetrators must be held accountable. Mr. President, it is time to end the vicious cycle of recurring violence in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Greece stands in solidarity with the people of DRC and remains ready to work with other member states in employing all the tools at the Council's disposal to urgently address the situation and create the necessary conditions for a lasting peace. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Greece.